1. India has a new law on bankruptcy. GS Paper 2, Bills and Amendments. Why is it in news recently? The Rajya Sabha on Wednesday passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, a vital reform that will make it much easier to do business in India. Once the President signs the legislation, India will have a new bankruptcy law. The move is expected to help India move up from its current rank of 130 in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, since all reforms undertaken by the 31st of May are incorporated in the next ranking. Salient features of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. New bankruptcy law will ensure time-bound settlement of insolvency, enable faster turnaround of businesses and create a database of serial defaulters. New code is presaged on the creation of a complementary ecosystem including insolvency professionals, information utilities and a bankruptcy regulator. The new code will replace existing bankruptcy laws and cover individuals, companies, limited liability partnerships and partnership firms. It will amend laws including the Companies Act to become the overarching legislation to deal with corporate insolvency. It will also help creditors recover loans faster. The bill proposes the creation of a new class of insolvency professionals that will specialize in helping sick companies. It also provides for creation of information utilities that will collate all information about debtors to prevent serial defaulters from misusing the system. The bill proposes to set up the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India to act as a regulator of these utilities and professionals. It also proposes to use the existing infrastructure of national company law tribunals and debt recovery tribunals to address corporate insolvency and individual insolvency, respectively. The Bankruptcy Code has provisions to address cross-border insolvency through bilateral agreements with other countries. It also proposes shorter, aggressive time frames for every step in the insolvency process. How the new bankruptcy code will protect interests of workers. To protect workers' interests, the code has provisions to ensure that the money due to workers and employees from the Provident Fund, the Pension Fund and Gratuity Fund shouldn't be included in the estate of the bankrupt company or individual. Further, workers' salaries for up to 24 months will get first priority in case of liquidation of assets of a company, ahead of secured creditors. It enables workmen to initiate the insolvency process and they will be first in line to get the proceeds of liquidation. 2. Managing India's freshwater. GS Paper 1, Distribution of Key Natural Resources Across the World. Has distribution of freshwater imbalanced spatially and temporally in India? The Ministry of Water Resources has estimated that with 2.5% of global landmass, India has 4% of the world's freshwater resources. The Central Water Commission estimated that the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna basin with 33% of the landmass had 60% of total water flows. The western coastline with 3% of the area had another 11%. This left just 29% of water resources in the remaining 64% of the area in peninsular India where drought is common and farmer suicides routine. How this can be addressed. The controversial river linking scheme to transfer water from surplus to deficit basins was mooted to address this spatial imbalance. How inefficiently fresh water is managed in India. Most rainfall is received over a relatively short duration during the monsoon. This leads to temporary flooding. Huge amounts of surface water quickly drain into the sea. The biggest culprit is agriculture that accounts for 80% of all freshwater usage. Flood irrigation, prevalent in more than 95% of the irrigated area, damages both ecology and farm economics. Farmers at the tail end of major command systems receive delayed and deficient supplies, while those upstream use the grossly underpriced water wastefully. The drilling rig and electric pump revolution has permanently depleted groundwater reserves in several areas, with water and power subsidies compounding the problem through inefficient use of a scarce resource. What measures needs to be taken for effective management of fresh water? A time-bound plan to bring the entire cropped area under controlled irrigation, sprinklers, underground pipes and other water conservation devices should be undertaken. Policy coordination is essential to improve the management of the country's scarce water resources. Need to shift from monocrop procurement system to multi-crop, so that farmers divert themselves to water-extensive crops. Need to rationalize subsidy over electric pumps and fertilizers whose overuse affects groundwater quantity and quality. Need to strengthen national hydrology project with real-time data availability of water resources to be used and not to be used for better surrounding ecology management. Mushrooming of check dams in rain-fed rivers so that water can be made stayed on surface for longer time. Water treatment technique as what India signed agreement with Israel, if bring timely can solve huge problem of water usage. Need to bring water under one ministry so that its efficacy can be checked properly and timely and policies can be implemented effectively. Need to sensitize people regarding its efficient usage, conservation and harvesting techniques.